There are some Pokemon that Ash has that are completely beloved and the goats of his team, and Krookodile is definitely one of those Pokemon single-handedly carrying Ash's Unova run, being the ace of this team and one of Ash's strongest Pokemon ever. But Krookodile wasn't always beloved, or even strong. This Pokemon was actually quite hated. And to understand all this, we gotta go all the way back to the beginning of the Pokemon Black and White anime where Ash first met Sandile. When Ash was chilling and walking around with Iris, they both end up falling into a random sinkhole. And you would think that the Unova region has a fracking issue or something because these holes are all over the place. A little boy comes by and saves them, letting them know that these holes are the results of a group of Sandiles that are making a bunch of potholes everywhere for no reason. They're even terrorizing his business. They own a spa and people used to chill there all day long, but the Sandiles attack everybody by creating a bunch of holes for no reason. And I'm not gonna lie, the aftermath of their damage looks crazy. You would think that an earthquake or a gang fight happened in this area. Ash and his Pokemon decide to relax in the hot sand, and maybe if they meet the Sandile, they'll be able to handle the situation and figure out why it's destroying the entire area. And while they're all chilling, Sandile does end up revealing itself and it decides to kidnap Iris's Axew. The gang isn't gonna let this slide and they end up grabbing Sandile, trying to release Axew, and then we learn that this Sandile is the GOAT because when it's cornered, it ends up getting Pikachu and Oshawott in its mouth, stealing the both of these Pokemon and running away. Even Team Rocket tried to steal Pikachu from Sandile, but it didn't work. It actually made it worse for them since Sandile got his gang of crocodiles to bury Team Rocket into a hole. Ash decided to follow Sandile so he could get his Pokemon back, and when we pan over to Pikachu and Oshawott, you would think that they were about to get sacrificed into a geyser. It looks like some sort of Pokemon ritual is going on and these two Pokemon are at the center of it. Right now it looks like Sandile is the big bad guy, but Sandile ends up putting down Pikachu and Oshawott, and the truth gets revealed that this guy is a big softie and wants the best for everybody. He shows Pikachu and Oshawott that the area is dangerous and the geyser is about to explode, which is why he's trying to get everyone to evacuate the area, and that there are some Pokemon that haven't evacuated yet. Ash ends up seeing all this and realizing that Sandile is a good person as well, but it ends up being too late and the geyser ends up exploding. The Pokemon end up thinking pretty quickly to make a ladder of themselves to save everybody, creating a Pokemon ladder, contributing to the Lions versus Pokemon debate, and in the end everyone evacuates, the geyser settles, and everyone can chill at the hot springs, and Ash and the gang are all happy. And Sandile ends up being pretty happy too that he's met some pretty cool trainers. Some time ends up passing with Sandile following Ash in the distance, but in a later episode, we come to find out Sandile may be the biggest menace because for some reason he wants to fight Pikachu in a battle and starts following them around the Unova region. Ash in a later city is just hanging out with a group of kids that are friends with a Trubbish, and this Sandile is a psychopath because he starts digging a hole in front of the kids' treehouse, destroying a bunch of their property so that he can battle Pikachu. Ash isn't really feeling this and he gets randomly attacked by Sandile. The little kids in the area wanted to help Ash out by throwing mud at Sandile, and this was their biggest mistake yet. Sandile said screw them kids and blasted a stone edge right at them, trying to crucify them. And what the hell is up with this Pokemon? This is a red card. Pikachu manages to save the day by blasting off this Sandile, but everybody was really confused on why this Pokemon was so mad at Pikachu and why he has his sunglasses, and we end up learning that the truth about this Sandile and why he's so insecure about his identity isn't so nice. But before I get into any of that, I have got to talk about my latest addiction, which is Marvel Strike Force, the sponsor of today's video. Marvel Strike Force is a free-to-play mobile squad RPG game that allows you to battle with tons of your favorite superheroes and even supervillains to fight and save the universe against threats like Doctor Doom and the Apocalypse. You can play and power up with these characters to complete tons of missions, unlock gear and other resources, and beat others in online PvP modes such as Alliance War and Arena, and PvP online is always fun. You can hop right into the battle by clicking the QR code on your screen or clicking the link in the description down below to download the game today. One of my personal favorite heroes of all time is Wolverine, and he is in this game and he's incredibly fun to squad up with. But after I watched the new Marvel Thunderbolts movie, Bucky has also become one of my favorite characters yet, and this month Marvel Strike Force is giving you 5 powerful characters for free. For a limited time, if you use promo code Bucky, you'll unlock Red Guardian, Yanela, Ghost, Winter Soldier, and Taskmaster. It has never been a more perfect time to get into this game with all the hype surrounding Marvel, so lock in. Don't forget to use my link or scan the QR code to download the game, and big thanks to Marvel Strike Force for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back into it. Because later on, Ash was chilling with Pikachu and they fell into another random hole because Sandile dug it out to isolate these two Pokemon so he could have a 1v1 with Pikachu. Ash still doesn't understand why Sandile wants to fight him so badly, but he's down for the battle. But before it seriously begins, a Ducklet interrupts the fight. And this Ducklet is a super villain. It ends up stealing Sandile's sunglasses, and when Sandile wants them back, Ducklet does not care and dips running away with the glasses, and Sandile gets really sad and insecure that he doesn't have his shades. Ash ends up comforting this Pokemon and they end up growing a pretty strong bond. Another Ducklet ends up jumping in and stealing Ash's hat, and these guys are like professional gangsters or something. They have a whole base of operations of just people's stolen goods, so I didn't know Ducklets move like this. They try for the rest of the episode to get them back, but these Ducklets are OP, just bodying all of them, and then when Ash walks up to them and tries to act nicely, they start playing the sad Pokemon emotional music in the background, where Ash is letting them know that it's wrong to steal, and it looks like a heartwarming moment that actually went right until the Ducklet ends up blasting them with a water gun, because these guys will not fall for that. In the end, Ash, Pikachu, and Sandile realize nothing is going to get through these birds' head, and they ended up beating them in a battle and getting all of their stuff back. Then Sandile ended up challenging Ash and Pikachu for a battle to see who was stronger, and the battle was going pretty well, but in the middle of this fight, Sandile ended up evolving. He was officially now a Krookdile, but Pikachu was still able to beat him, blasting off Krookdile, and the writers kind of didn't put him in the story for a couple of episodes. It was a long time until we saw him again. Krookdile just followed them throughout the entire Unova region, and eventually one episode, Ash ended up capturing him when he ended up fighting Pikachu in a rematch and losing. But now with this Pokemon officially joining the team, it was like the only serious Unova member. I remember anytime Krookdile was in a battle, I knew it was actually getting real, and easily the most significant battle this Pokemon had was up against Iris's Dragonite in a tournament. When the match began, it wasn't looking good for Krookdile. He was getting shot at by a bunch of flamethrowers and had to dig into the ground to dodge some. And honestly, it makes sense. Dragonite is a pseudo-legendary and Krookdile is just a second stage Pokemon. This Pokemon is not to be slept on though, since he managed to bite Dragonite's tail, and even though Dragonite threw him towards the curb, Krookdile used Stone Edge to push back Dragonite. And this tactic was kind of working, but Dragonite decided to lock in and shoot a flamethrower at Krookdile and then combo him with an Ice Beam. It looks like this Pokemon was completely done for. Iris told Dragonite to finish off Krookdile with the flamethrower, and it looked like Krookdile was out for the count until our boy started to evolve into a Krookodile, the GOAT himself. Krookodile's aura was so potent that the Dragonite started tripping out and didn't want to listen to Iris anymore because it was getting one-upped. So Ash's Krookodile took this as an advantage to strike Dragonite while he's tripping out and knocking him out in the tournament. Our boy Krookodile is a nonchalant dreadhead. After this battle, Krookodile was pretty cemented as one of Ash's coolest Pokemon and the only serious one on his Unova run, but his most important battle takes place in another tournament. Ash was versing Stefan in the Unova League, and it wasn't looking good for him because honestly his team was trash, except for Krookodile. Palpitoad and this bug got knocked out from their opponent, so it was really just up to Krookodile to carry the tournament, and he did not disappoint. His first match was against Stefan's Liepard, and this Liepard was honestly one of the strongest I've seen. It was using Hyper Beams, Double Team, Shadow Balls. This thing's moveset was maxed. Everyone was concerned if Krookodile would survive this, but this guy stood up tall and used Stone Edge to push back Liepard. He then proceeded to dig into the ground to dodge a Hyper Beam, attacking this Pokemon, and then it finished it off in the most cool way ever, using Dragon Claw to slash it. My guy Krookodile, you are really carrying this season. The final matchup was between Krookodile and Sock, and unfortunately Sock is a fighting type, which means Krookodile has the type disadvantage, but Krookodile does not care. He was holding his own with close combat, and these two were going blow for blow. It was a super intense match, but Stefan told Sock to charge up a Karate Chop, which would have finished off Krookodile until Ash Ketchum told Krookodile to use Aerial Ace, the flying type move. This ground dark Pokemon decides to just jump in the air, steal all the flying types mojo, and slam Sock in the face with a super effective move that he just pulled out of his ass, to be honest. But nonetheless, it did work. Krookodile won in the 1v9, knocking out this Pokemon and proving that he really is Ash's best Pokemon in the Unova tournament. You would think that a Pokemon this strong would be used throughout the tournament, but apparently in the next round, Krookodile was nowhere to be seen in Ash's worst Pokemon League performance yet. And if I spend any more time talking about this battle, I'll seriously get mad, so just know Ash lost the Unova League tournament after he stopped using Krookodile. And honestly, after the Unova League, Krookodile really did take a backseat on Ash's team and didn't have any crazy significant battles, which kind of sucks since it feels like Ash kind of benched his star player, but the Unova season ended pretty soon after, so it wasn't that bad. Overall, Krookodile is one of Ash's more underrated aces, but still very cool nonetheless. If you want to see a video on the next ace on Ash's team, Greninja, click the full video on your screen because it's a banger.